Disclaimer, the characters and events of BOREDCAR exist in a fictional lore, and only reference real people, companies, or events for parody and entertainment.
Give me fuel, give me fire, give me double shot of time!
After months of waiting, the BOREDCAR Rocket Graphics and Media Cup Series Season 2 is finally ready to get underway, and it starts right here at where else but the World Center of Racing, Daytona International Speedway, for the Great American Race, the Daytona 500. Bringing you this coverage live on Trash Sports is going to be myself, Random Guy, joined by my fellow co-commentators that you saw in the Clash, Cal Zimmerman and Ben Okimura, and then a new face to the broadcast booth, Mr. Henry DeC, who is filling in for Lucas White, who has still not found a flight out of the Bahamas. So, gentlemen, welcome to the broadcast booth. It's great to have you here for, well, probably the biggest race of the season.
There's like 50 people in my house.
Thank you.
Henry, I think you need to stop taking meds, because you're clearly
Stop breaking
hallucinating.
the fourth wall.
Fourth wall violations are not allowed. Please get off the meds. But anyways, folks, we are finally here. No more preseason shenanigans. No more preseason races or anything like that. It is the start of the season. Starts today. No more waiting around. And I'm sure it's going to be very exciting. But what are your guys' thoughts going into the first race of the season, and perhaps the biggest of the season?
I mean, it's Daytona. What do you expect? There's going to be wrecks, probably some clean racing as well, but I'm just looking at driver capability, honestly.
Yeah, and certainly if you're wanting to look for driver capability, there is perhaps no better man to find than the number 15 BlackRock Ford Taurus, driven by Philip McCrack. This car, to be specific, as Philip McCrack led every single lap in the Clash at Rockingham, absolutely decimated the field in the preseason. However, it's clear by the fact that he's starting 40th out of 42 starters that he's had a little bit of trouble in qualifying. So Philip McCrack deep in the field, but he has demonstrated that he can be an incredibly strong driver. So do you guys think that McCrack's going to have a big chance today to make his way to the front and potentially get his second straight win on the season?
Maybe.
Considering he's starting at the back, but I mean, this is Daytona. Anything happens here.
Yeah,
The
absolutely.
chances are there, but they're not entirely guaranteed.
Most definitely. I mean, Philip McCrack did demonstrate that he's a very capable driver. We'll have to see if he can find his way to the front and get his first win of the season that will actually count for points. Our next story, though, comes over to another one of Philip McCrack's teammates, and that is Ryan Pumpledick in the number 52 Squirt Ford Taurus. Ryan Pumpledick had a terrifying wreck on just the opening lap of the Clash. After the race, he was found to have a minor concussion, but would be cleared for this weekend to race in Daytona. Kind of starting around the middle of the pack, Ryan Pumpledick looking to redeem himself and show that he can be a good driver that doesn't just crash out on the first lap. So, any thoughts about Ryan Pumpledick, you guys? You think he's going to be able to be a strong contender for this race and just for the season as a whole?
He has a
Maybe. I think
concussion
it still
right now,
seems
I'm
starting
not
in that
entirely
cockpit,
sure.
but
I think his head hurts a little.
Henry talked over me, so I'm just going to leave it.
Yeah, don't worry about it. Henry DeC is pretty much just a random guy we found in the stands. I wouldn't sweat it too much for right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think Ryan Pumpledick could put on a good showing so long as he stays out of trouble for the first race that actually counts. One other storyline we have to touch up on, all the way at the front of the field, of course, the pole sitter for the Great American Race, and he might as well be what most people, I'm assuming, would call the Great American President. I don't think this is going to get flamed and start a political debate in the comments, but George Washington, the number 67 Jack Daniels Kia, starting on the pole for the Great American Race, the country that he sort of kind of started, and yeah, going to start at the front. The question is, though, can George Washington hang on and win this race? Do you guys think he's got the speed to do it, maybe?
Definitely.
Most certainly.
If he ran single car, then he could probably run real well in packs. That's just what I'm observing.
All right. I think George Washington could be pretty fast. Depends if he can find some Kia manufacturer allies to hook up with, which there's a couple you see in the top 10, 2 others to be specific. But kind of really a big split in the starting lineup as to where manufacturers are lining up, which, of course, super speedway racing, you need to find some drafting partners to help stay at the front, and manufacturer allies are going to be your best bet. So finding those manufacturer teammates is going to be important, and starting next to them if you can as well, going to be a big thing. But it seems like pretty even spread, especially in the top 10 of our manufacturers and where everybody's starting. So it might be a little difficult, especially in the early going, for people to find some manufacturer allies. Might just kind of have to go with, your friends are where you find them. And that's especially going to be an ethos I think we see the closing stages of this race as things get a little more hectic. So with all of that being said, is there any other storylines that you guys think we need to cover before we get into this thing, or?
Let's get right into it.
All right then. So we will be back in just a moment with your starting lineup for the Daytona 500. All right, welcome back, folks, to the Trash Sports coverage of the BOREDCAR Rocket Graphics and Media Cup Series Daytona 500. And now let's get down into your starting lineup for the Great American Race. Starting on the pole, we mentioned this in the pre-race segment, is going to be George Washington in the number 67 Jack Daniels Kia. And his outside is David Bazuki in the number 8 Roblox Chevy for Team Riding Hood. Back in row 2 is Dennis Prunty in the number 44 Dodge, and his outside Chester Igiana in the number 98 Amico Toyota. Behind them, starting in 5th, is Blue Spy in the number 20 Team Blue Kia, and to his outside is Jeremy Ticklefart in the number 51 Global X Ford. Behind them, we'll see Frank Ford in the 27 and Chester Bennington in the 22. And then rounding out your top 10 is a pair of Fords with Shane Van Gisbergen in the 97 and Cletus Earnhardt in the 7 car. Behind them is Melissa Alizia in the 21, Jamie McMurray in the 1, followed up by Forward Backward and Steve Meeks. Behind them is Ryan Pumpledick, the guy with the big crash in the Clash, and Chase Briscoe starting to Pumpledick's outside. Behind them is going to be AJ Allman digging my ass, certainly a driver name, and Wayne Tittons is outside there in the 48. Behind them is going to be Bon Voyage in the 6 and Alex Prunty in the 66, followed by Walker Jones and Owen Ben. Behind them, we have a pair of Chevys in Ross Chastain and Adam Moore. Behind them is Adam Moore's teammate Lee Maddox and Phil Lurseat in the number 9. Behind them is Wayne Kerr in the 10 car and Chihiro Fujisaki in the 53 machine, followed by Kyle Larson and Avery Callahan. Behind them is Sienna Vale and Kyle Lejean, followed by Chuck Ago and Shelby Ben. Behind them is Dave Pepperback in the 17 and Whit Young in the number 61, that very flashy Tinder car. Behind them is William Cunningham the 30 in the number 70 Dr. Pepper Chevy and Sheldon Males in the number 94, followed by Maggie Splitzer in the 95, Clash winner Philip McCrack in the 15, and then rounding out your field for today's race is going to be Sammy Males in the number 14 Jack in the Box Pontiac, and shotgun on the field is Jet Callahan in the number 19 Columbia Bank Kia. So that is your starting lineup for today's event. Now we'll take a look at some drivers to watch. So, Ben, who are you going to be keeping your eye on this race?
I said George Washington last time, but I'm not going to go back to back. Let's go with fucking David Bazuki. Why not?
I see. Henry, anybody you're going to be keeping an eye out for?
I mean, you always have to be careful of Lee Maddox. He made a quite impressive start there, last week, I would presume. I don't know. Was able to hold out second for most of the race at Rockingham. So, 40-lap race that was. He's number 40.
Funny. Yeah, Lee Maddox started second on the race, finished second to Philip McCrack, so definitely a driver to keep their eye out for. Cal, if you're still here, he might still be here. We don't know. He might have gotten abducted by... All right, Cal has been abducted by the gang from Natural Habitat Shorts. I think I'm going to be keeping my eye out. I'll say it because Albie didn't say it, but I'm going to keep my eye out on George Washington in the 67. Had a lot of strong single-car pace, and I think he's going to have a real commanding presence over this field. I mean, he was the first commander-in-chief of the United States, so I think he's going to have a really good kind of strategic way about racing today, and that's going to allow him to stay up at the front and control this field for a good section of the race. So that is going to conclude our starting lineup and drivers to watch. When we come back, we will have the field rolling off and taking the green flag for the Daytona 500. Welcome back to Trash Sports, everybody.
Amazing day for a race here today. It's a great racetrack for us, guys. I'm looking forward to having a lot of fun. Got a great crowd, great weather, great race car, great pit box. Everything's looking good, fellas, so let's be smart.
And you hear that? That's actually the radio from second place David Bazuki, his crew chief ChatGPT, giving a little bit of a pep talk. going into today's race, and gonna need a big pep talk for sure. So field rolling off pit road, getting ready for the formation lap before starting the Daytona 500. Will be 70 laps on the board today, 2.5 mile super speedway. Expect 2 wide pack racing for a good chunk of this. We should see about 1 to 2 pit stops. 1 if drivers play it smart on the fuel, 2 if they're just kind of going all out the entire way. So in terms of that strategy, is there any particular side of that that you guys think is going to prevail in this race?
I honestly think that the short pit could work here if they just save their fuel coming out of pit road and then just hold it with like a tandem pack. I'm pretty sure that they can have a really good run.
Yeah, I think the long game is going to be important here. Trying to get that 1 stop is going to pay big dividends, I believe. Unless, of course, we get a caution, which is very much possible for everything from somebody blowing a tire to just losing talent. There are a million different ways that a wreck can happen here at Daytona, and every single one usually ends in chaos and confusion on a large scale.
Henry, you got anything to add, or are you going to be a professional D1 no yapper?
Henry has demonstrated why random fans from the stands don't commentate races more often.
Exactly.
Man, you mean. What are we talking about?
Okay.
Thanks. So the field rolls off turn 4. The Pontiac pace car going to get ready to enter pit road, as you see the field rolling by there on our stationary camera off turn number 4. Pace car makes the hard left turn onto pit road. Field is in the hands of George Washington and David Bazuki. And season
at Daytona.
Season number 2 of BOREDCAR is underway.
Didn't you say that
George
last
Washington
time?
with a really good jump off that restart. Here comes David Bazuki back on the outside.
Washington
Still
is...
there on the outside. I think George Washington is going to get clear entering turn 1.
Washington does clear Bazuki. Dennis Prunty as well, trying to get ahead for second place, which he will. Blue Spy and Frank Ford right up with that inside lane, as well as they come down the back straightaway for the first time today.
They're not tightly packed as of right now. They're, for the most part, on the outside line. They're not really able to do anything.
Now, a lot of those drivers are
Starting
coming to the
cars
bottom.
dropping out.
Now dropping to that inside lane. As David Bazuki now going to go all the way down to 5th place as the field rounds turn 4 for the first time today. It looks like 3 wide in the middle of the pack there. You can see Adam Moore, filler seat, and Chihiro Fujisaki, at least in the corner, tried to get a 3rd lane going. They are still 3 wide back there, however. As George Washington, our nation's first president who has come back from the dead somehow and racing in BOREDCAR, will lead the first lap of the Daytona 500.
Ancient ritual stuff, don't worry about it.
Still 3 wide in the middle of the pack. Chihiro Fujisaki getting sorted out as Sienna Vale really without help in the middle. Phil Lurseed is kind of straddling 2 different lanes, and he's really getting no draft from the cars in front of him. As you can see, a big gap between the 9 and the 88. Vale will now get in. Oh, never mind. Sienna Vale's still going to be taking 3 wide as Maggie Spletzer on the bottom, wasting no time. As Sammy Mail's already making some moves. As
Just kind of slid up.
Yeah, I think Phil Lurseed went way high. Chicago might have also washed up the racetrack. Alongside Dave Pepperback. Washington, though, managing both of the lanes right now at the front of this field.
And what we didn't notice, a decent portion of those front pack went up high, and they are now losing time.
Yeah, Blue Spy, Dennis Prunty, Frank Ford, pretty much in 2nd through 4th on the race start, have now lost those positions as Shane Van Gisbergen moves into the 2nd spot. Melissa Alizia is racing her teammate at Ifragora Racing for the 3rd position. As you can see, the driver's kind of going to run down the straightaways on that outside lane, but the bottom is far superior in the corners, and that's what kind of keeps things really tight, is that different advantages in the lanes. But what makes it an advantage for somebody like George Washington or Shane Van Gisbergen that has single-filed out is they can move between those lanes and really set the fast laps of the race. Looks like Avery Callahan set the fastest lap that go around as we complete lap number 3. Alizia still trying to get ahead of the 3rd spot, forward, backward. Trying to move up into the 4th spot and get up to his teammate, Van Gisbergen, running in 2nd. Try and get a Forward Motorsports car to the lead if they can get together and maybe rally that bottom line.
Remember, it's only lap 4. These guys don't need to be this aggressive, but they are anyway.
Oh, most certainly. There's no reason to go this hard, and you can see a lot of them are double file, just kind of freight training, but then Wayne Kerr in the back And a couple other rows deep, it looks like they're 3 wide, maybe 1 or 2, as Owen Benn is going down pit road already. What is going on here? And it looks like...
Probably a problem with that number, what is it? The
88.
88, yeah.
Yeah, so it looks like potentially hard knocks for the number 88 BTR Network Dodge as he'll roll into his pit box, and we'll see if he... Here's where he is. It's a pit stop. They are pitting early. They are changing tires. You can see they're going to change the right sides. Will they change the left sides as well? No, that looks like staying in that box for repairs. So some kind of mechanical issue, maybe cutting a tire down. Up in the front, things are getting interesting, though, as forward backward dives to the inside of Washington, and he'll try to take the lead, be the second driver to hold the race lead as they come off turn 4 side by side. And coming down to the...
Still in the lead, though.
Washington, I think backwards got him, though. And forward backward does get it by 1/100th of a second. Owen Benn will merge up behind the rest of the leaders and will go 1 lap down. No idea what has happened there to the 88 car, but that is most likely his race over, as now the Ford's rallying really well there on the inside. Forward backward, Ryan Pumpledick up into the second place, and AJ Allman digging my ass, taking third. Bon Voyage in fourth, trying to get the inside back going. As here comes digging my ass to the inside. Or Allman digging my ass.
I didn't know you swung that way.
Okay.
That's crazy.
We're going to stick with AJ because Allman digging my ass is seriously a mouthful.
Almond.
As Allman digging my ass, or AJ, trying to control both the lanes right now and allow his teammate forward backward to just kind of pull away a little bit. Bon Voyage sitting in third place now has gotten clear of that outside line as Ryan Pumpledick starting to go backwards. Jamie McMurray is in fourth, and now Walker Jones moves up to the 5th spot. And then number 5, Cummins Rush Truck Centers Dodge.
This race has been surprisingly pretty clean, honestly. I
Yep.
haven't seen many incidents.
Absolutely. We've seen some 3 wide, kind of towards the back of the field as they sort each other out and figure out which lanes everyone's going to be good in. But so far, it has been good, clean racing as Voyage will make the pass on AJ for second. McMurray, the inside, trying to get through there as well. Looks like Sienna Vale, you can see in the back that car with the big white P on the hood, starting to lose the pack just a little bit. Maybe a little off pace. Meanwhile, Owen Benn is kind of in no man's land right now, so most likely he will be getting lapped again before this race is over, putting him 2 laps down, well out of contention. Unless we get an early caution, which doesn't seem very likely right now.
You know, Ben kind of jinxed it there. It might happen.
That's
We got
true.
2 packs now.
Yeah, big split there between, it looks like, Avery Callahan running in the 29th spot. So top 29 have pretty much broken away, lead pack, and then Chester Bennington here leading everybody else, really, I think is a good way to describe this group. As Chester Bennington is going to come down pit road, actually. What is the interesting strategy plays here by the 22 and the 88? By the looks of it, anyway. They are solo pitting, so they will have no draft help. And that's probably going to jeopardize them quite a bit, as they are going to be off of the pit strategy. I guess we'll just have to wait and see what happens. As you see Owen Benn go past the 22, they're going to try and get one of his laps back on the 22 machine. We're
I
gonna go...
did talk about early pit stops in pre-race, but I did not think it would happen.
No,
Lap 9.
yeah, well, not even completing lap 9, still technically just finishing lap 8. We're around turn 4 to complete lap 9 in a moment as Ross Chastain now moves into the 2nd spot. And that second pack has just completely disintegrated. Holy! Still the top 29 with Avery Callahan rounding out the lead group, but then it's just a 2-car draft with Chase Briscoe and Kyle Lejean. And Sheldon Males and Jet Callahan. And then everybody else back here, Sienna Vale on her own. Owen Benn is on his own. Chester Bennington merging up the racetrack. Quite slow, but nobody's hit him.
Oh my god, Jesus.
And that was a lot closer than it needed to be. So Chester Bennington will get up to track speed. It's usually the blending where the incidents occur. But at this point, he's shuffled so far out of that draft that I don't think it's going to be much of a problem. Certainly strange strategy calls, though, coming from the crew chiefs today. We'll see how that transpires, as Bennington will be the 2nd car to go 1 lap down. Yeah, but that second pack has been just completely destroyed. So really, barring a caution, this has become a race amongst the top 30, or top 28. Mr. Igiano running 27th was the last car in the lead pack. Now it's Avery Callahan kind of swapping between those two. Chase Briscoe and Kyle Lejean trying to close the gap in their own rights. Looks like they might just have the slightest whiff of a draft as they are racing each other side by side. Probably not the smartest decision, but oh well.
We've got a 2x2x2 over here.
Also, bump drafting here is a bit scary because if you bump draft, you can lift the back of these cars and then you can cause a massive pileup.
Yeah, that is true. We'll see if that actually ends up happening. As we are a 7th of the way through this race. Forward, backward, continuing to control the lanes. However, the Dodge is looking to rally a little bit. You see Steve Meeks running in 2nd. His teammate Wayne Tittins is in 3rd now. And Alex Preddy leads that outside line. Up in 4th. See, Meeks trying to get a run. The inside lane is on his back bumper, but not close enough to really give him any sort of push. Looks like, though, bit of a 4-car breakaway from the inside lane is catching right up to forward backwards and trying to challenge. Looks like Wayne Titton's going to pull the inside, try and get a run on his teammate. Have the advantage in the corner. We'll see if he can clear for the 2nd spot.
Not yet.
No, he's not quite going to get there.
That run on the outside is real equal.
Yeah, still side by side as they go into turns 1 and 2, and that's really kept the 2-line structure as strong as it is. But by the same time, it's allowed forward backward to really just run out in front and stay out in front because he can switch between the 2 lanes. There really aren't enough cars, or drivers aren't racing as aggressive as necessary to really get in there and give that.
To be fair, it's
give a
only
shove and
lap
catch it.
14.
Yeah, but we've already seen pit stops on lap 14, so clearly everyone's kind of just all over the place in terms of, at least in terms of strategy. It seems in terms of the racing, everyone is still keeping it quite tame, as we've now just completely lost everybody in the frame. At least those 2 packs have kind of reformed. It's the top 27 here, and then I don't really want to say loser's lane, but kind of is loser's lane right now because none of these drivers are within any sort of immediate striking distance. It's a 3.5 is probably a better estimate, but about 3.5 seconds behind the lead pack, and it's not even close. And then you have Sienna Vale, who has just completely lost touch with everybody, alongside Owen Ben. There's Vale, and there's Ben, so the 88 I would definitely expect to lose another lap here soon. The 11's probably not far behind, and then we'll see what happens with that entire 2nd pack if they get caught a lap down as well. I will say they do not appear to be gaining time on the leaders, but we'll take a look here and see. As forward backward continuing to control this race. And no, they are actually losing time that 2nd pack. Not as much as somebody like Sienna Vale, who is all out in no man's land and lost 3 seconds on the leaders that time. But still definitely losing ground. They are going to go 3 wide here, it looks like, with George Washington trying to get to the inside of the 48 of Wayne Tittins. That will shuffle anybody out of line. It looks like Adam Moore, though, maybe the biggest loser here. Gets the short end of the stick as Washington will get a 2-for-1 and slide up into 3rd. Second pack still seriously struggling for pace. Now, Steve Meeks, though, is all over the back bumper of that 4-car, trying to reel in forward backward for first. So here comes Washington to the bottom. George Washington trying to get out in front, but he'll have no help to get there. And is not going to have any success in diving to the inside to make a pass on Steve Meek's work. Should be about halfway through this fuel run, however, as we complete 17 laps here in the Daytona 500, almost 2/7 of the way through this race. As now Chicago moves to the inside of Kyle Larson, and Maggie Splitzer going along with him.
George Washington making a move to the inside. He's going to get there. There's Chicago side by side with that little Caesar's car, which I can't see the number from here.
That is
Fair
Burger
enough.
King. As a Burger King sponsor, and is the 95 of Maggie Splitzer. Fast food really showed up this season. We have a Burger King car, a McDonald's car, and a Jack in the Box car. So you got a good assortment of fast food to choose from if you're a Board Car Cup Series fan.
Or if you like alcohol, you can like George Washington.
Yeah, we got everything from whiskey. We got Coors Light leading the thing. Jack Daniels running in second. There's Busch Light and Ross Chastain. I think that's all the beers. I think that's all
I'll
of
be
the...
adding Miller Lite here pretty soon.
Oh, boy.
Oh, yeah, Bon Voyage has Miller Lite on his car.
Oh, yeah, so we do technically have a Miller Lite representation. I guess if we're just going drinks in total, you got Kinetics as well. Oh, and to conclude the fast food thing, you have Culver's with Alex Brunny. As they are 3 wide in the back, that is AJ Allman digging my ass. That was kind of up the racetrack there for a moment. He'll tuck in behind David Bazuki. Started this race in second and is falling backwards quite quickly. Kind of sifted to the back of this lead group, which has remained 27 cars strong. They have not lost anybody since that separation with the second pack, but it's also highly unlikely that the second pack is getting itself back into the race without a caution. Forward, backward in the lead, Maggie Splitzer has now found her way into second. Jeremy Ticklefart in third. So kind of new wave of contenders here. Starting off at the leader, really letting forward, backward, doing all of the dirty work. Let's check in on that second pack while we're here, as we sift through the rest of the leaders to get to that second group, which is just now entering the trial, and they are racing 3 wide, racing for the 28th like it's the race lead. I mean, this really is the best they can do at this point, though, as they will be 3 wide into turn 1. William Cunningham III on the inside, the Dr. Pepper Chevy. He will get ahead of Kyle Legene and force that 29 down to the bottom lane.
Ah, crap, I have to go.
All right, looks like
Bye-bye.
Ben Okimura's mom had to make him leave. This is truly unfortunate. It's still kind of all single file, not all single file. You have your 2 packs, and then Sienna Valeno and Ben just kind of puttering around at this point. Still have yet to catch that 11 car, but I imagine we'll be closing up that gap soon. This top 4 have now broken away from the rest of the lead pack. Trying to make this Daytona 500 between them if they can help it. Do hear Owen Ben that start with Ben we're going to catch first, sorry. So, still Owen Ben's day not going very well, and it's going to potentially get worse before it gets better by any stretch of the imagination, as now Jeremy Ticklefart to the inside. Maggie Splitzer will take the second spot away, or not quite. Splitzer gets a nice run there, and will stay out in front, at least coming to the line. There's Washington all over the 51's back bumper.
I had to grab the box.
So he's still side by side down the back straightaway. Washington looks like might go high with a little help from Adam Moore. Splitzer, though, finding the draft from the 4 forward, backward, will not quite be able to clear, though. It's going to allow Jeremy to go.
Anything happened while I was gone?
No. Well, Always mommy had to go, so that happened, but... or
Always what now?
Always mom told him he had to go. That came out very wrong.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Just...
As we might have a battle for the lead, Maggie Splitzer is going to get underneath of forward
I mean,
backward.
I never knew all it was straight. Just
Crazy. As Splitzer not quite able to get there, she will keep a quarter panel though on the inside of the 4. That prevents forward backward from covering off the inside lane. They're 3 wide behind them as Washington going to find a spot in line, but got sorted out by Adam Moore. And Maggie Splitzer now inherits the race lead. New race leader. Forward backward held serve for about 20 laps, I want to say. Jeremy Ticklefart now trying to get up into second place and perhaps get past the 95. How confident is Splitzer that she can get down to that bottom lane? Not very confident. So 95 will hold on to the lead for now. Ticklefart not quite able to get a run off the corner and get underneath the 95 the way he wanted to. 3 wide, though, in the back. Alex Prunty trying to go to the bottom. He's got help from Cletus Earnhardt and Dave Pepperback, as now Adam Moore starting to fall backwards just a little bit. As you do hear lap cars out in front. That is Owen Ben, I believe. The field is going to catch first and catch quite quickly. Then Sienna Vale will be next on the docket. That'll be the 3rd car that goes 1 lap down in this race. As we're backward challenging for the lead once again. See what happens, though, when they catch the 88, and the 11 is not far off. So, a couple of lone lap cars that the field is going to be running into here quite soon. As forward backward gets out in front once again. Jeremy Ticklefart running in second. And he will get underneath the 95 as Splitzer starts falling back on the outside lane. Alex Prunty now moving up into third. As you continue to see the field get closer to that lap car moment. Then there's the view out of forward backwards on board, the Coors Light on board. And there's the view out back as Jeremy Ticklefart holds on to second. Another 2-car breakaway trying to control both of those lanes. See the lead pack behind them. Second group of this race is about 9 seconds now off of the pace. They're going to have to really bank on a caution to get this field stacked back up together. As you see that second group right there, William Cunningham the second looks like leading the fray. As now the top 5 have managed to get out into a single car train. Cletus Earnhardt joining Alex Prunty, Maggie Splitzer, Jeremy Ticklefart, and forward backward. Getting away from the rest of the lead pack, but now they are going to catch that 88. Probably as they come into turns 1 and 2 here, maybe as they come out of the corner. Owen Ben is already 1 lap down. We'll see how he behaves with the leaders. It looks like he's going to hold his position on the middle line, forward backward. He's going to try the high side. Maggie Splitzer, though, is going to get caught off guard. Will she try to go 3 wide and force the issue? No. She's going to stay in her lane and go low. Forward backward will tuck in behind the 88. It is worth noting that Owen Ben does seem to be at race speed, or generally around race speed, so it looks like the leader's just going to kind of draft off the 88, but this is going to stack up the pack. It will give Maggie Splitzer the lead coming off of turn 4. Forward backward, though, going to charge hard down the front straightaway. We'll be side by side at the line. Everybody's still struggling to find a way past the 88. They're also catching the 11 of Sienna Vale quite quickly. That is another lap car that could make things quite interesting here. Owen Ben continuing to just hold his line, now picking up a big draft from the 11. You're right on board with the lap car, the number 88 VTR Network Dodge of Owen Ben, and there comes Sienna Vale. Definitely slower than the rest of the pack. Ben's going to go high. Maggie Splitzer will try to take the low line and find a way past. And she will not. She's going to tuck in behind the 11, now try to go up top to get past, but Jeremy Ticklefart is there. And he'll likely have a run coming off of the trial. Those 29 laps are complete. Lap cars making things interesting. Splitzer's going to try again on the bottom. Ticklefart now losing second to Dave Pepperback. Looks like Maggie Spletzer will get clear. Owen Ben, though, now has a little bit of running room out in front of him. We won't catch a lap car for quite a while. The next car up would be Shelby Ben, OB's teammate in the 0-2. As Maggie Spletzer now takes the lead, Dave Pepperback gets up to second. Ross Chastain moves into third as that outside lane is really getting held up by the 11 car of Sienna Vale, who does not have the race pace to contend with these leaders. We'll take a look at the back of the pack. Never mind, we'll stay focused for now on the leaders as they try to navigate around the 88 of Owen Benner. Maybe they'll work with him, we'll see. It looks like nobody in the back is coming to pit road. Maggie Spletzer now diving to the inside of that 88 car. Owen Ben looking to get shuffled out. See where Dave Pepperback tries to go. He's not going to go anywhere. This should give Ross Chastain a big opportunity here to slide to the inside, and it does. So Chastain will move into second as now Dave Pepperback. Oh, 3 wide. Jamie McMurray going to take an aggressive dive to the bottom lane. And will try to advance his position into third. Get a trio of Chevys lined up at the front of the pack. Spletzer trying to block both lanes. Not quite sure why. So you don't really have to worry about that 88. He is now 2 laps behind, and he is holding up the leaders on that outside lane behind you. If anything, that just puts you at risk of losing a position, losing that race lead. The cars lined up on the inside, and there are quite a lot of them. Sienna Vale has been shuffled back quite a bit by behind now Bon Voyage, Dave Pepperback, and Ryan Pumpledick on that outside. But the pack itself has stayed together quite well. As you see the second group back there, still kind of just doing its own thing. 2x2 racing, much like the leaders up here at the front. Maggie Spletzer continues to lead with a bit of a gap. Ross Chastain running in second at the moment. And now coming into pit road, big group of cars coming into pit road here, as pit stops are kicking off at around lap 32. We'll see if anybody in the second group here opts to come in, and there are. Wayne Kerr going to lead Shelby Ben in, so 2 cars in that second pack come down. Then Ross Chastain leads, say, about 10 cars onto pit road here. Looks like it will be a 4-tire stop, just gauging off of the 36. Yes, it will be a 4-tire stop, as is the case with drivers up and down the grid. Maggie Spletzer still leads now a fractured lead pack. And we'll see how they all come together here once the pit cycle completes, and if there will be any cautions that kind of mess that cycle up. See Chuck Aggo getting off pit road. All these first round of pitters coming off. Maggie Spletzer going to stay out again, it looks like. Bon Voyage leads Dave Pepperback, Ryan Pumpledick, Chester Agiana, Jeremy Ticklefart, Walker Jones, Melissa Elysia, and Steve Meekson. Second group of cars, you have William Cunningham. That's a good chunk of them as well. William Cunningham leading Sheldon Males, Whit Young, Bill Seat, Chase Briscoe, Sammy Males, Jet Callahan, Philip McCrack, and Kyle Lejean. As Chastain now looks like will get out in front. Leader of the first pit cycle. There comes Spletzer in the 95, though. Chastain trying to get up to speed. Everything looks to be so far so orderly. Second group of cars now working their way off of pit road. The big group, we'll see if Spletzer comes in now, as she will. So Maggie Spletzer peels off the racetrack. David Bazuki, Alex Prunty, Avery Callahan, Adam Moore back there. You see Fan out alongside Dennis Prunty. And I believe Chihiro Fujisaki will be pitting as well. So that should be everybody that has so far made a pit stop in this race. Chester Bennington and Owen Ben pit very early on in the going. And it looks like we have had a smooth pit cycle. As the second group of cars starts to blend onto the racetrack, we'll see if Ross Chastain can get out ahead of Maggie Spletzer as the pit stops cycle out. There's the 95 coming off of pit road with a sizable lead over everybody else. It looks like Spletzer is going to win the race off pit road. Again, the million-dollar question is where that 36 is going to come out. Spletzer gets out in first. Alex Prunty out in second. Sienna Vale is a lap car, but she exits in third. Now again, all eyes on the 36 car. There he is. Ross Chastain with Jamie McMurray and Lee Maddox, sorry. They're fighting for the race lead right now. 3-car group, and it looks like McMurray's going to get it as you see the rest of the field there blending onto the track in turns 1 and 2. McMurray is going to stay out in front, so Ross Chastain will lose the lead. There's Maggie Spletzer. Can she get up to speed in time?
Very much so.
And it does appear that she will. Looks like Wayne Kerr kind of lost the draft. AJ Allmendinger, my ass, still stuck in his pits with mechanical problems. That will probably be his day over. But you see that everybody now has cycled back around to the lead lap, aside from our 3-lap cars. Sienna Vale, Owen Ben, who was 2 laps down, and now AJ Allmendinger, my ass, who has mechanical faults. But Owen Ben is actually going to manage to get his lap back after getting ahead of the leaders as this pack reorganizes. Jamie McMurray will be the race leader at the end of it. So Blitzer did, in fact, lose the lead there.
22 unlapped himself?
Yeah, Chester Bennington was only a lap down, and because he pit on, like, lap 7, he hasn't come in yet. We'll see if Chester Bennington comes down pit road soon, though. Doesn't have that much more fuel than everybody else. You see kind of some packs starting to organize together. We'll see if this field kind of clumps back up. Right now, though, we have a 4-car, soon-to-be 5-car pack for second place as Bon Voyage joins the group. Jamie McMurray right now trying to drive away with Owen Ben. AJ Allmendinger, my ass, appears to have had a problem, and he will go 2 laps down. It's going to be race over for him. So past the halfway point in this race, the pit cycles have gone flawlessly. We'll see if there's any cause for a caution, though. I highly doubt it, though, given the current situation of how fragmented the field is. As they are still racing for the lead up here. Jamie McMurray drafting Owen Ben. Lee Maddox, though, trying to get to the inside and score a Daytona 500 victory. He will get underneath that 1 car using the 88 as a tow. As Henry DeC is being a certified goofball. Murray and Lee Maddox continuing to swap the lead. They have pretty much 2 lanes right now that have nicely organized. There's a 4-car train behind them. With Sienna Vale, Dave Pepperback, Walker Jones, and Alex Prunty. We'll see if they can catch the leaders. And then after that, they have a big group out here with Avery Callahan leading them. That rounds out your top 10 pretty much. Those 3 packs of cars can get together. So kind of little strings of cars. Waiting to see if they will all come together and reform into one large group. Doesn't appear to be the case, though. Handful of laps after pit stops have completed, as now Owen Ben will peel off the racetrack to do his second stop of the race. Should be his final stop, though. We'll see how the fuel strategy pans out there. Chester Bennington, as well, should be coming in here soon. He might already be on pit road. As, yes, he will pull off alongside Owen Ben. So this will be Chester Bennington's second pit stop of the day, just like Owen Ben's. Again, should be their final stop, just based on what seems to be their fuel strategy. Ben is going to beat the 22 out handily. We'll stay in for 4 tires. So Owen Ben going to go 2 laps down. Chester Bennington was able to get his lap back, but he's going to lose it right now, as Wayne Tittins has found his way to the front with 21 laps to go, and now the top 6 really just able to race amongst themselves for the victory. As Owen Ben got shuffled out of that pack. They will be catching some lap traffic, though. Owen Ben trying to blend onto the racetrack, and Wayne Kerr in the 10, who has, again, just kind of lost the draft, but behind the top 6. Big line forming with Dave Pepperback in the lead, and they are making a hard charge towards the leaders. Could be a potential threat, especially with the 88 now on the racing surface. We'll see how this goes. You can see Ben is noticeably slower than the cars behind him. It looks like everybody's going to go high just fine. Yes, looks like Bon Voyage and Maggie Splitzer might get held up. The 88 has returned to racing speed, so Owen Ben's still going to be in the pack. It's actually given Wayne Tittins a little bit of a gap to work with, as Wayne Kerr and Blue Spy appear to be just kind of some lone cars all out on their own. Soon to be lapped. Bon Voyage now to the inside as Owen Ben goes high to cover off Chastain and Lee Maddox, or maybe just to get out of the way. It's a crazy concept for some of these drivers to comprehend. But Bon Voyage will move into second place with 30 laps to go, trying to reel in Wayne Tittins, which most likely he will. Meanwhile, the rest another big group of the leaders has caught up. Dave Pepperback leading Walker Jones. You have Jeremy Ticklefart, Adam Moore, Alex Prunny, Avery Callahan, Ryan Pumpledick, Chuck Ocko, Shane Van Gisbergen, and the lap car Sienna Vale, David Bazuki, and Chester Igiana not far behind. And you have a second group with William Cunningham III there, trying to get back into the fray. So we are going to have a decent pack of cars to race amongst themselves for the win, as the first of two packs kind of join together, the 8 and the 98 looking to get in on this action as well. They are catching Wayne Kerr, though, and they do have two lines formed up, so we'll see what happens here. See the view out back from Wayne Tittins. We'll go from the rear bumper cam. Panning to the front, you see the 10 car there just up the road. Voyage going to get clear of Owen Ben for second. Maggie Splitzer trying to get ahead as well. Coming across the line, going to be less than, should be about, I think, 28 laps to go. At this point is Wayne Tittins will get underneath Wayne Kerr, no problem. And most of that inside lane will. Kerr's going to stay up on the outside, and that's going to hold up that outside line. As now this has allowed David Bazuki and Chester Igiana to close the gap. And might also allow this group back here with William Cunningham, Cletus Earnhardt, Sheldon Males, Melissa Alizia, Dennis Prunny, and Kyle Larson to join in as well, and that would put us up into a group of 22 cars for the top 22, all in a group racing for the lead. We still have our second pack back here, and then kind of just some cars in little groups all out on their lonesome, trying to just do their best, as the leader's getting ready to close the gap to Blue Spy and put him one lap down. It would be the sixth car to go one lap behind. See how long that continues as Wayne Tittins out in front. Bon Voyage has jumped to the outside lane. Maggie Splitzer still holding on to second. She had the lead before green flag pit stops, where she lost it to Jamie McMurray, then Wayne Tittins, then Bon Voyage, and now Wayne Tittins once again. Behind this top 8, though, Wayne Kerr kind of holding up the pack. Same with Sienna Vale. That is really prohibiting Chuck Ocko, David Bazuki, Chester Igiana, everybody on the inside lane, and Ross Chastain, Lee Maddox in particular on that outside from moving forward. And Chastain, he went from being the race leader after green flag pit stops to now all the way back down in 11th and losing ground stuck up behind those lap cars. Looks like Ryan Pumpledick and Jamie McMurray trying to make an assault on the outside lane. Wayne Tittins still holding on. He's got a teammate now of Dave Pepperback in second to help protect against, looks like Jeremy Ticklefart is the biggest immediate threat, trying to find a run on the inside lane. Those two also trying to cover off the top side, as never mind. Dave Pepperback will go for the lead for himself. Rocket Motorsports teammates not working together, but with just 25 laps to go coming to the line, I think at this point it is go time for a lot of these guys. Just kind of putting yourself in position to win this race. But of course, as is the case with Daytona, the leader, especially on the last lap, does not always stay the leader coming down to the checkered flag. Blue Spy now rapidly approaching the leader's front mirror, and it looks like they were going to go 3 wide there. David Bazuki, though, just getting moved up out of the groove. Second pack out back does not appear to be catching. Cletus Earnhardt trying to take the lead of that second group. Behind are top 21 drivers at the moment. Under our top 21 is Dennis Prunty and Kyle Larson appear to have lost. Yeah, kind of appear to have lost the pack. They've settled back in with that second group now. I believe they were at the front. Maybe, no, I think I'm just crazy. They weren't up at the front. So it'll be the 5 car of Walker Jones. So the top 17 cars in the race, all in one group together, which is a little more than a half. Probably right about half, actually. No, a little more than a half. Then the lead pack initially before green flag pit stops, as Blue Spy there does get caught and will be put 1 lap down. Sienna Vale lap car kind of riding along just with Adam Moore and Dave Pepperback, trying to maybe get herself unlapped as Adam Moore to the inside. Chuck Ocko is trying to advance his position and potentially go for a race win. Ryan Pumpledick there as well, trying to get a big win at the Daytona 500 after again, a big crash on the opening lap. Did not get to see a lot of Ryan Pumpledick's preseason talent. But clearly he's got a knack for this super speedway thing. Running turn 2, Adam Moore will take the lead from Dave Pepperback. Coming to very close to 20 laps to go in the Daytona 500, and it's about 20 laps to go. And usually drivers will start to get a little crazy, make those aggressive moves just because you're getting towards the end of the race. So far, we have not seen any cautions, as Chicago will now inherit the lead, exiting turn 4, side by side behind him for the second spot. .22 laps to go. Chicago trying to cover the outside lane. He's not quite going to do it. See, though, he will stay ahead of Adam Moore. Ryan Pumpledick perhaps looking for a way past on the inside. See Adam Moore starting to charge once again. He's side by side with the 0. 85 still out in front all by himself. Chester Gianna, Chicago's teammate, is third on that inside lane, so he could be a major help to the 85s. It looks like William Cunningham and his group have caught up to the leaders. This is going to add even more cars into the mix as the pack really starting to reform itself. We have second group out back with Sammy Males leading that organization, leading that squad. $20 laps to go. Next time by at the line. Field has double filed up once again. Another lap car coming into their sights is the 16 of AJ Allmendig and my ass, who is already 3 laps off the pace due to some kind of mechanical issue or something that needed to be fixed on the pit stop. You saw there for a brief moment the second group of cars, or really the, I think, third group, because you have the second group here, which is about 6 cars, and then you have the third group right here, which is sort of everybody else. George Washington, your pole sitter, is leading that group. Quite a fall from where he started this race. Most definitely Washington currently running 30th. So he will get 5 points for sitting on the pole of this race, but it doesn't look like he'll be leaving with much more than 5 points as for his race result. Speaking of racing, if you want to see racing that's perhaps a little more chaotic, just because you don't just have to turn left, but you have to turn right as well, be sure to tune in next week when the BOREDCAR Rocket Graphics and Media Cup Series heads to Circuit of the Americas for race 2 of the season. Certainly going to be interesting watching these drivers attempt to make a right-hand turn, no doubt. So 20 now, 19 laps to go. There's another lap car of AJ Allmendig and my ass coming into view. 3 wide in this third group out back between Frank Ford, Chase Briscoe, and Steve Meeks, fighting for scraps really, but scraps are still sustenance. Dave Pepperback going to the bottom of Adam Moore, trying to get into second place. We'll see where Ryan Pumpledick decides to take his momentum, and Avery Callahan as well. They'll go nowhere with it, as Pepperback and Pumpledick, while tucking behind the 0. Avery Callahan now going to use that as a way to get to the inside and advance her position. Chuck Aggo now out in front, commanding this field. We'll see if he can stay out there as the field closes up to the 16 of AJ Allmendig and my ass. Goes right up to him. Chuck Aggo will try the high line. 16 will take his choice up top. That's going to trap Adam Moore up there. Dave Pepperback goes to the inside, and Chuck Aggo will hold on to the lead. Adam Moore, though, is going to start dropping positions like a rock. He's already down to 4th, now 5th as Ross Chastain goes past. A lot of drivers lining up on that outside lane, actually. This could be seriously detrimental to them. Melissa Alizia, you see, has fallen off of this lead group. Now Avery Callahan trying to get up into the second place spot. Dave Pepperback losing his position up on that outside lane. Ross Chastain back into 3rd, trying to close up to those top 2. Not quite let them get away. As we've seen with many of these lap cars as they enter the pack, AJ Allmendig and my ass kind of just holding up everybody on that outside lane as they are 3 wide. 2 wide for 5th place between, or 4th, yeah, 5th place between Alex Brenny and Ryan Pumpledick. 3 wide when you count in lap cars. Sure, Walker Jones trying to find a way past Lee Maddox. Quite going to do anything about that, though, is out in front. Avery Callahan trying to get to the race lead of the Daytona 500, and she will. Avery Callahan now leading the way over Chuck Aggo. Dave Pepperback in second. See what he'll do. It's like nothing much. 16 laps to go here in Daytona. Allen still leading the way, but Pepperback on the bottom. Trying to get ahead. They're 3 wide in the back. Walker Jones, Bon Voyage, and William Cunningham the third. 70 there looks like we'll get the biggest advantage. Coming around to 15 laps to go as they come to the line. Getting down towards the end of this race. Still 3 wide out back. You see Walker Jones, Cletus Earnhardt, and Bon Voyage. Now sorting that out as Walker Jones will get out in front and really stick with the leaders side by side for the race lead. Dave Pepperback and Avery Callahan, neither one really backing up or giving an inch in any sense of the word. They're now going to be 3 wide for second place once again. Ryan Pumpledick in the 52 going to the bottom for third place. Ryan Pumpledick going to the bottom, trying to clear the 36. Chuck Aggo will go way up the racetrack and lose 2 spots. Avery Callahan holds second. For now, the race lead, Dave Pepperback in second place. And off into turns 1 and 2. Avery Callahan now losing some ground. We'll see if she can gain it back on the back straightaway. It's usually been the case so far, and you can see that 54 is making the ground up. It'll be side by side once again. Actually, the 54 will get ahead going into turn 3. Dave Pepperback is going to a little bit of gap. We'll see if it's enough to take the lead as they come down the line. Rounding turn 4, Callahan with a huge run. And will lead the lap once again. The margin, though, did shrink just a little bit. Avery Callahan continuing to lead the way. Pepperback once again on that inside. Callahan, though, doesn't really have a lot of help out back, but about a car length between her and Ross Chastain, who is second on that outside lane. The high line looks like it might close up just a little bit. They're coming on the back straightaway. Pepperback now going to get a full car length ahead of the 54.
Rod, do you...
Not have enough to actually make the pass and stay clear. Approaching 10 laps to go, however, and we do have a decent amount of cars still in contention for the race win. See if anybody tries to do something bold in hopes of attaining BOREDCAR Daytona 500 glory. So far, we have 22 cars that are still in contention to win this thing, and when I say in contention to win this thing, I mean in the lead pack still. Maggie Spletzer just holding on there as Boost By not making things easy for her. Up back in 23rd all the way over here is Jiro Fujisaki. I highly doubt that this second group of cars, no matter how organized, is going to be able to close up, and definitely not this third group, which consists of a couple race leaders that we've seen before. Forward Backward in particular is a driver to note. Let's fall back to this third group. He led a sizable amount of the opening stages of this race. And really tough to see him run in the back the way he is right now. But they'll come down the back straightaway, approaching 10 laps to go. Dave Pepperback, Avery Callahan still trading the lead. The lap car of Owen Ben sits second on the inside, help the 17, and Ryan Pumpledick, The 52 on the outside, working with that 54, and each one of them has a wide variety of different manufacturers in their respective lanes. I think that the 88 and the 17 being Dodge factory teammates are going to work just a little bit better. That more immediate connection, I guess, is the word to use. Obviously not in any, like, weird romantic ways, but just as a fact, they are manufacturer teammates, more likely to help each other out. Callahan, though, still continuing to hold on to the lead consistently as these laps tick by, and we have come down to just 10 laps to go in the Daytona 500. And going to be a caution-free race by the looks of it, which is quite interesting. Usually you'll get a caution or two, but it looks like that's not going to be the case, though. Here comes Lee Maddox forcing 3 wide on Owen Ben. Looks like the 88 might be the one hung out to dry. Chastain trying to go up top with Pumpledick. Chuck Ago trying to figure out which lane he wants to take, as you see the rest of the field fly by there. The rest of this lead pack, sorry, fly by there. It looks like Pumpledick will be the odd man out. Now Dave Pepperback looking to get to the race lead, and he will. This time going to be clear of Avery Callahan. We know that 54 is going to get another big run down the back straightaway. Probably get the race lead back from that 17 car. Now here comes Lee Maddox in second now on the bottom. Owen Ben got shuffled up to the outside lane. Avery Callahan with another big run down the front straightaway. But it's not going to be enough this time. Dave Pepperback will actually lead the lap. And that is big for that 54 car. We've seen Avery Callahan get a monster run out of turn number 4 and lead laps at the start-finish line because of that. But it appears that the inside lane has organized to a point where Dave Pepperback can now stay ahead and block those runs. Callahan, though, going to get another shot at it, and it looks like she will get ahead of the 17 now for good. For the time being, anyways. It looks like Lee Maddox, though, is going to go 3 wide once again. Knows we're getting late in the race. He knows that moves need to happen. So he's making his. He'll shuffle David Pepper back to the outside lane and take second place for himself. William Cunningham, the third, following behind him as you look out back. And Reese's onboard camera. Lee Maddox trying to cover both of those lanes. It's coming down to 7 laps remaining. Maddox now gotten ahead for second. William Cunningham, the third, sits third. A pair of Dodges in sharing 4th and 5th, leading both of the lines that are still side by side. Is now Dennis Prunty clearing for 4th. Dave Pepperback really just falling back. We'll see if he can give that outside lane some kind of resurgence, which it so desperately needs. As you look from our helicopter view, Cunningham trying to go to the inside of Maddox for second place. All still tailing Avery Callahan. Dennis Prunty goes high to try and help the 40 car. That's an interesting decision. Or he'll just go high up the racetrack anyway. As it looks like Lee Maddox is pitting, he doesn't have enough gas to make it to the end. And that is going to be a huge disaster for the 40 car and Matt Reese's team, as Owen Ben now up high. And that, I guess, is something that we do need to watch out for, that these drivers can make it on field. They didn't quite, most of them, pitted around lap 31 or 32. They didn't all quite pit at around the lap 70 mark. And this could actually be huge for somebody like Chester Bennington, who did take that interesting pit strategy. As now Shelby Benn is in, Frank Ford is in, Chester Bennington is still out on the racetrack. So it looks like these drivers are going to, in fact, have to make another pit stop. And this is just remarkable. So William Cunningham III will take the race lead. We'll see if he comes down pit road anytime soon. And he does not. Dave Pepperback, though, is going to pull off. The driver's slowly but surely running out of fuel. We'll see 5 laps to go at the line, and now just 3 cars in contention for the win. Between William Cunningham III, Dennis Prunty, and Avery Callahan. Lap cars out in front as these couple cars trying to blend onto the racetrack. Shelby Benn and Frank Ford in particular. Leaders should get by A-OK. We'll see who has the fuel to go the distance. Larson, though, not sure what the plan was there. Looks like he was going to try and draft with those other cars and use that as a way to get past his teammate, Jamie McMurray, to take away a top 5 finishing position. Pack is starting to reform now. We'll see if anybody else comes to pit road, though, exiting turn number 4. And it looks like Wayne Tittins is going to pull off Meggie Splitzer, Jeremy Ticklefart, Shane Van Gisbergen, and Bon Voyage as well. So more drivers seeing that they cannot make it on gas. And this is big, because it's not only split up the pack, but it's really kind of made it a wild card of who exactly is going to win this race. With just 4 laps to go, you can see Jet Callahan blending onto the racetrack. Avery Callahan going past. Second group of cars going to try and maybe mount some kind of attack on William Cunningham III, who currently holds the race lead still. Coming to just 3 laps to go. Does he have the gas to make it? So JB McMurray holding on to the race lead. Not holding on to the race lead, sorry, geez. Going 3 wide on the inside, and they're going to pit. William Cunningham's going to pit. McMurray's going to pit. And that's going to see more cars peel off in the background, you see. And now 3 laps to go. The amount of drivers that have the gas to make it is slowly wearing thin. You see more drivers blending up onto the racetrack. It's a 5-car train. First, second, third, fourth, and fifth, all under a blanket. All trying to see who will have enough fuel to make it to the finish. Avery Callahan continuing to lead out in front. That 54 car appears confident that they have enough to make it. Either that or everybody else is going to have to pit. We have slowly been seeing cars pull off the racetrack, dropping like flies. Now with just 2 laps to go, what happens? 3 more cars pulling off. Chester Gianna, Dennis Prunty, and Kyle Larson. It's now between pretty much Avery Callahan and Adam Moore for this race win, as more cars you see exiting pit road. A lot of them going to be finishing 1 lap down by the looks of it, if the leaders can make it around to the finish. And that is the big question. The word of the day right now is if. So far, the 54 has appeared strong. They have led the lead pack, even as it has slowly thinned out. Adam Moore, they're looking to just kind of ride around right now. These are the last 2 cars on the track. They'll be taking the white flag this time by the most 1970s-esque Daytona 500 you've ever seen. And Adam Moore is going to pull beneath the 29 of Kyle Legina's. He out of fuel and needing to pit. Avery Callahan staying up top. And Adam Moore will pull off the racetrack. Avery Callahan looks like she's going to be the only one to stretch the fuel. White flag is in the air. Last time around for Avery Callahan. The only car it looks like that's going to be able to make it on gas, it is not Chester Bennington. The 22 car, which, by the way, it looks like that 22 machine has not actually jumped up that many positions. Still sits 37th, 1 lap down. And now with half a lap to go, it does appear that the win is going to go handily to Avery Callahan, with Dennis Prunty and Adam Moore on pit road. And oh! Caution at the end of the race! Chase Briscoe has blown something up! And I think that's going to... The race is going to be over. It looks like the pack might be slowing down, but off turn 4 regardless. Avery Callahan going to turn the Daytona 500 into a fuel mileage race and come down to the checkered flag to take the win for LW Racing in the Great American Race. Avery Callahan's going to be the one to get it done. There was no caution there at the end. But Chase Briscoe did, in fact, lose a motor and will probably not go home with a DNF. I think he's going to at least make it back to the flag. But a wild fuel strategy race sees Avery Callahan get the job done. You have to go all the way back, all the way to Adam Moore in second, who hasn't even finished the race yet. Dennis Prunty, it looks like, will get third away from Kyle Larson at the line. William Cunningham, 5th. Chester Gianna, 6th. McMurray, 7th. Ryan Pumpledick is 8th. It's going to be a drag race for 9th place, and it's going to go to Dave Pepperback, so that leaves Wayne Tittins to round out the top 10. As the rest of the field comes down, you see the final results on the ticker there on your screen. Very interesting race, to say the least. As Avery Callahan gets it done on fuel mileage. Definitely an interesting way to end a race, and it looks like the 92 car of Chase Briscoe will go out with a gearbox failure, so he will be scored as a DNF and allocated to the bottom of the grid. He will be the only DNF in the Daytona 500. Certainly an interesting Daytona 500 as well. But nevertheless, a big win for Avery Callahan. I'm sure that team is going to be celebrating, and I'm sure BOREDCAR officials going to be having some discussions about how this race went tonight. But we're not here to broadcast those discussions. We're here to broadcast the race, which has now concluded. So on behalf of the Trash Sports broadcasting crew, this is Random Guy, the only guy whose parents did not have to pick them up halfway through the race. saying we'll see you all next week. And, of course, thanks for watching.